Okay, we just completed Tuesday's candle, this one here. Now we can potentially see what Wednesday is going to do. Okay, so first thing is our basics. The high, the low, the midpoint of Tuesday. That's a must. Then what you're gonna look here is you're gonna see, okay, is this a continuation trade or is this a C2 closure? And you have both here. You have Tuesday closing above Wednesday's high, which she closed right here, or a potential continuation. And then you also have a C2 closure where Tuesday swept Monday's low. You can have C3 going higher, right? Let me move this so you can see right here. See that sweep there? This sweep here is a C2 closure. So you have both. You have a continuation, and in addition to that, you have a C2 closure. Okay? So my bias for this day was bullish. So once you establish this here, you move into the hourly time frame. But the first thing you need to establish is the bias, right? That's your main one. You know, that's why a lot of people lose because they don't have the direction correctly. And that is the first thing you need to establish. So now the indicator marks it for me here, where you have Tuesday sweeping Monday, and now you could potentially have Wednesday going higher. Okay. Um, so let's fast forward to 9 in the morning, and then let's see how it goes from there. Just a second here. This is 4, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there's a few exceptions in which I go before 10 o'clock. And during this day, I went before 10 o'clock. This is the reason why. If you notice, price came lower here, and it was holding the previous day midpoint, which was Tuesday's midpoint, right here at 3 in the morning, at 4 in the morning. Came back here. 7 o'clock was holding again. I don't know if you can really tell here, but then there is a sweep. This candle did close inside. It's you have to really, really zoom in. But this candle did close. This is a C2 closure. Okay. I'm sorry. And meaning not 8 o'clock swept 7 o'clock. Now you could potentially have 9 o'clock going higher. When I go look at ES, when I go look at ES and you put the midpoint of ES, I'm sorry, bear with me because I'm doing this live so you can see where and when I put my annotations, okay? Let me change this line to a dotted line. Okay. We also have a C2 closure on ES, and notice how ES is also holding the previous day midpoint. Look at how the candles are closing. Like the bodies are closing above it, and it's been respecting it since 3-2. So those are signs that I develop over time of looking at price action. So sometimes people ask me, but why did you get in there? Well, I've been watching the charts for so long that I see patterns and I see things that like recognition that I'm able to spot as price is developing. And again, you only develop this with experience. And that's it. I don't know what else to tell you. This is just with screen time, you will develop things like this. But so this is where I made a decision. Okay, I'm going in at 9. So this is ES. Keep in mind ES is respecting the midpoint as well. Okay, so now when I go into NQ, you have that C2 closure there, and then since I'm going to be trading the 9 o'clock candle, I'm going to put the midpoint of 8 o'clock. Okay, so as the mid, so I want the midpoint to be respected, right? Also, when I look to my left here, I notice that price, when it came lower, it tapped into this 1 hour fair value up here and is respecting the midpoint. If I add a line there, you see that the candles, the wick came below it, but the actual body is closing above the midpoint. So that's showing me that it's respecting this area. He respected it here, he respected it here, 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 and then here. So with that in mind, now I have my framework to potentially go up because of my C2 closure below here and because of my continuation. So then I go into the 5 minute. Once I drop into the 5 minute, I'm going to remove this fair value gap, okay? Once I drop into the 5 minute, I would like this 9 o'clock candle in the 5 minute to change state of delivery and go higher. So you have a few things here. Remember, this is the midpoint of 8 o'clock. You want that to be respected, okay? So I'm gonna put this blue. Okay, so price a 9 open, right? And just went high. But look at what it's respecting. It's respecting the midpoint of 8 o'clock, this dotted line. And also, when it went above it, what did he reclaim? He reclaimed the previous day midpoint. That's what you want. Below the previous day midpoint, bearish, above, bullish. So when he did that, you could have a change in state of delivery here on the prior candle. Once he did that, you have this change in state of delivery here, there. You could actually enter there, but you have to put your stop loss below this swing low here, which I won't put it all the way below this candle here, because if I enter there, that will be in a hundred handle stop. That's too wide, right? But if I would enter here, I'll probably put it below here because I don't want price to lose the midpoint of previous day, and I don't want price to lose the midpoint of 8 o'clock candle, right? So what I did is I let it, again, my executions are posted. You can go check them out. I let a candle go low, right? This candle went to the downside, and then you had another candle going high. That was my entry at the close of this candle. So you could enter here. Your stop loss technically can be below here, but I put it around the bodies of this candle. And then all you gotta do is you shoot for 2R. I don't want price to come below this blue line because that's previous day midpoint. I don't want that. And I certainly don't want price to come below this dotted line, which is the 8 o'clock candle. So in a lot of my trace, I measure the order block, which is this down close candle here. You can place your stop loss around the midpoint of the order block, or you can put it below there, or you could put it below the blue line. It's I don't know. I think I put it around here. Let's say I put it there, but you could put it below the blue line. Or you could put it here, and then just shoot for 2R. And now remember, this is before 9:30 open. You have to remember that 9:30 brings a lot of volatility. So if you're gonna enter around this time and you're gonna rush to move your stop, you might get kicked out because 9 o'clock brings a lot of volatility. So then here you go. So price starts to expand, and then it just goes straight into TP. Look at that. Straight with no drawdown, just straight to TP. So again, you could have put your stop loss here below the midpoint of this order block here because you don't want to violate the dotted line here. Or you could even put it there. I think this is where I put it. I don't remember. Um, but then you get your 2R pre-market. Now, I enter here when it did that there at the close of that candle there. But you had also had another change instead of delivery prior to that here. But the stop loss needed to be below here though, either over here or below here. If you put it here, you might get kicked out, especially with 9:30 volatility. You might get kicked out. So now this is C3, trading C3, which is 9 o'clock. Okay. But let's say I didn't enter at 9. Uh, let's say I wanted to wait for C4 or 10 o'clock. Okay. So let's look at it. I want to delete this stuff here. Okay. So now we wait for 10 o'clock to open, right? And this play even went higher than that, so I remember. So one thing I like to point out based on the data I've collected over the years is that when you have a big expansion like this, 9 o'clock actually expanded 263 handles. You have to be careful. Is either 10 o'clock gonna consolidate or gonna reverse deeper and then go higher. But again, you just get this by back testing and collecting data over the years. So you also had 10 o'clock, 6 o'clock sweeping 2 o'clock on the 4-hour candle, so 10 o'clock can go higher now, right? You have that there. So you'll be trading C3 on the 4-hour time candles. So you want 10 o'clock to open low first and then go high, right? That's what you want to do. Kind of like what happened here, went lower, then went high, and wait for the change in state of delivery to go long. Let's see if that happened. The change in state of delivery would have been up here, up there. And I think I made a video about this. Like if you just bought it here blindly, you would have gotten stopped out because it never changed the state of delivery. If you keep playing this here at around 10:45, it did that here. It went above. It went up. This up close candle went above this down close candle, right? So you could have entered there. Here, what you do is you enter here. You put your stop loss below this low here. Give it a little wiggle room. And then you shoot for 2R. The problem I have with this is the whole logic of this fractal model is that you have to wait for candles to go low, then go high, change state of delivery because you want the hourly wick to be formed, and that's how this shows you that he did it, or the 4 hour wick if you're trading the 15-minute time frame. But this is already towards the end into this candle. Like there's once it opens again, once the next candle opens, that's already 10:50. Can the candle expand in 10 minutes and go high, the 10 o'clock candle? Sure, but it's less probable. What could happen is when 11 o'clock opens, right, you're going to get a new candle. 11 o'clock, 1 hour candle needs to make this wick. So it's probably going to go low first and then go high if it's going to go high, and you can get kicked out. So that's the problem I have into getting late into a CISD like right now, like a 1050, because you have 10 minutes left on this candle. I'd rather wait for the new candle to open and get on site. But nevertheless, let's see what happened here. So you have 10:55, and then you have 11 o'clock opening. Um, Again, you could take this type of plays, but know that if 11 o'clock is going to form a wick, like in this case, 11 o'clock doesn't have a wick. But if it was to form a wick, it can kick you out of your play. Like if he has to do this and forms another wick like this, and let's say manipulate below 10, you're gonna get stopped out. Now, are you willing to accept that? And if you're willing to accept that without revenge trading, without full porting the next trade, without upping the contracts on the next trade, and without going on tilt, sure, if you have your emotions on check already controlled, the majority of people don't, then you could do this. In this case, price just went straight up. He never, the candle at 11, if you would have waited for 11, it would have never given you an entry. And it went straight to 2R here. But remember, this is a doable play. But if you get stopped out with the logic I said, if 11 o'clock 1 hour candle makes a wick down, kicks you out here, there, here, are you able to control yourself? Um, so now this is 11:30, right? So you could have entered here towards the end, which is a little, you might get stopped out. Just remember that. Now let's see if 11 gives you an entry if you were here already. So 11 o'clock goes lower. You don't have to change the state of delivery there. Now it's already 11:55. I wouldn't go in around this because it's already the end of the candle. Back again. There, it changes state of delivery, but it's already the end of the candle. And look, this is a very good teaching lesson. If you go long here, right there, your stop is gonna go here at this swing low, and you're gonna shoot for 2R right there. But look at where you're going to. You're going to previous day high. Price can go to previous day high and then dump, because majority of the time that's what happens. It goes to previous day high, it either dumps to the downside or it either has a deeper retracement and then it goes up. There's gonna be a few exceptions that it doesn't do that. But how do you know this is gonna be the exception? You don't. So let's see what happens. You go into the late CISD there, and then price starts to retrace. Why is it retracing? Because 12 o'clock candle is making its wick. That's why you have this retracement to the downside here. 11 o'clock candle is making its wick. You're still in this play if you put your stop loss below there, and then you got kicked out. So that's why I don't like to go in at the last minute of the CISD. I like to go in. The latest I think I'll go is 40 minutes late into that, unless I see some type of strength going there, and then I'll do it. But this is the breakdown of Wednesday's play. I went in before, and you could have gotten 2R if you're going in at this late CISD, but don't just take my word for it. Go back, test it. Go check, go collect data. And over a sample of over 300 trays that you could collect data on, not no 10 trays or 5 trays, 300 plus trays, you will see that a late CISD or going into uh, when the hourly candle is going to be almost over is low probability. Let me know if you have any questions.